And we are live. What's going on, everyone? It's Talks with Kenny, episode 85. We got a lot to go into. I'm only trying to stay here for an hour. Let's see if I can keep myself accountable to that. Knowing me, I probably won't, but hey, it's worth a shot. So we're going to get right into it. Democrats have learned nothing. But before we get into it, I want to react to Chuck Todd leaving NBC News after nearly 2 decades working for the news network. Now, as we all know, the news networks, they've been taking L's. Like liberal media, their ratings been on a historic downturn. Let's read little bit about it today. And I don't think no one's gonna miss Chuck Todd. If you've been following me on X, I've been like, I'm not celebrating this, but I've been talking about the media and how they essentially lost the plot, right? They lost people's trust and they didn't help themselves because they keep putting out propaganda, hit pieces. They were so inconsistent how they would cover a Democrat versus how they would cover a Republican that it legitimately hurt them. So
Instead of Roger Stone and
here's a clip I want to show to you all, and this is Chuck Todd on the Hunter Biden laptop story. And this is some of the inconsistencies that I want to hone in on with the mainstream media and why Chuck Todd's like he's gonna be more of many, right? Jim Acosta, he quit. I didn't say he got fired. He quit after he got moved to the graveyard shift. And these things highlight time and time again why people don't trust the mainstream media. Because we're gonna focus on the media for the first 10 minutes of this live stream. Because uh Caroline, Caroline, Carol, Karoline Leavitt will highlight how the media got all these things wrong and they still want to question Donald Trump when he makes certain assertions like him blaming DEI for the staffing shortages at the FAA at the air traffic control and believe that DEI contributed to creating the circumstances that caused the horrific disaster at the DC airport. But I digress. Let's get into some of the claims that Chuck Todd got wrong and projected it to be somehow true.
Instead of Roger Stone and WikiLeaks, it's Rudy Giuliani and some computer guy in Delaware. So this didn't work. So he'll try another planted story or another, Russian, use some other, discredited Russian propaganda. And for those of you spreading misinformation, shame on you. Shame on you. I don't know how some of you sleep at night who are doing this for a living on television. Instead of Roger.
So you see this guy, right, wagging his finger at you, telling you, oh my God, you guys are spreading misinformation, right? But this pompous, I was about to curse on this thing already. This pompous a-hole come out wagging his finger, telling you, oh, how you guys sleep at night spreading misinformation. But and then in the next breath, he's spreading misinformation. This is why nothing of value was lost. This is why the news media, the liberal media, complains. You see articles. If you look out, if you type in on your Google search, liberal media hollowing out. This is why they're hollowing out. This is why trust in journalism is at such a historic low that I think people trust car salesmen more than they trust people on the TV. Make it make sense. I'm telling you. And the media, the journalists, they feel some type of way about it, but they earned this. They earned the distrust from the American people. Imagine being trusted less than a car salesman. Like think about it. A guy trying to sell you cars, you trust him more than you trust this guy on TV called Chuck Todd. And this is why they can no longer afford these people. Joy Reid's next. I don't know how long it's gonna be, but Joy Reid is next. You can't be paying that lady $3 million to spew a bunch of racial garbage. Have you ever tried to watch a Joy Reid show? I tried. I can't watch the whole thing. I can only watch clips of Joy Reid. I can't sit there and watch Joy Reid for an entire hour. I'll go crazy. Every single news story, every commentary coming out of Joy Reid's mouth always have to do with racism, race, slavery. Some way she ties into slavery. Ridiculous. Hey Kenny, I'm getting hit hard at the job now, so I can't really comment too much, but I'm still tuning in. I appreciate it, Dance with Incels. I appreciate it. Hopefully you're enjoying yourself at work. Hopefully it ain't too bad, and hopefully you find this insightful. But I want to let's run back into other claims that he got wrong, and then I'm gonna highlight the news, right? Because the press briefings, hey, ever since we got the new White House press secretary, the pressings have been very eventful. I'll say that. But let's get into this short clip, and then we'll go into the press briefings.
Please get vaccinated. If you know someone who's not vaccinated, find a way to convince them to get vaccinated. Literally, the only people dying are the unvaccinated. And for those of you spreading misinformation, shame on you. Shame on you. People are needlessly dying because of your misinformation. Think about it. I don't know how some of you sleep at night.
So I think you guys get the message, right? So dude come out here, wag his finger, got everything under the sun wrong. 51 agents said that the Biden laptop story is false, right? Then when Trump goes off breaking, Trump already banned them. He banned all 51 federal agents that were part of the Hunter laptop story. And now you got libs crying online. And Chuck Todd represents this dying breed of journalists. I don't know what he is. Chuck Todd tells colleagues he's leaving NBC News, taking his truck. I don't know. I don't know if he can make it on his own. Do you think these people can make it on their own? I don't think so. I don't think these people can make it on their own, honestly, without a news media behind them. But I digress. So I want to focus on Karoline Leavitt. She forces the media to eat their words in brutal White House smackdown. Now, before we get into this,
I can confirm that tomorrow.
Before we get into this, there's a clip I want to show because she spars with the media as usual.
Biden administration had a chance to.
I'm trying to find the clip. Let's go with the tariffs for now. So this is her going to talk with the journalists about tariffs, and it'll go exactly how you expect it to go.
Tomorrow, the February 1st deadline that President Trump put into place at a statement several weeks ago continues. The president will be implementing tomorrow a 25% tariffs on Mexico, 25% tariffs on Canada, and a 10% tariff on China for the illegal fentanyl that they have sourced and allowed to distribute into our country, which has killed tens of millions of Americans. These are promises made and promises kept by the president.
Yes.
Man, she's running all hot. But one thing I noticed with the media, right?
Let the American people know the truth about that, and for some reason, they chose not to. I also would just like to point out that several years ago, when I was working in this press shop and President Trump would take to this podium to brief the American people on COVID-19, he suggested that COVID very well may have came from a lab in Wuhan, China. And many members in this very room mocked him for that, said he was spewing conspiracy theories. He was not. We now know that to be the confirmable truth. It took many years for it to come out, but the president was right in this instance again.
So this is the kind of smackdown that the media gets because of the fact that they decided to be just anti-Trump, right? And when you're just blindly anti-Trump, Trump can say 2 + 2 is 4, and the media will somehow spin it and saying that he's lying. This is the branding that liberal media has gotten, and this is why they can't sustain themselves right now. This is why they're dying out, hollowing out. Why Democrats overwhelmingly trust them, right? Because we already know Democrats are biased, but they pretend they're not biased. The least tolerant people in America is a Democratic woman. Sorry, ladies. That's just the data. That's just how y'all tend to roll, Democrat women. And I want to highlight something that JD Vance said, and I think this is a perfect point because I think this is how many people see the liberal media. They see them as propagandists. What makes someone a propagandist is that you, right? But Chuck Todd, I just showed Chuck Todd as a propagandist. They had to let him go. You made conspiracy theories without any evidence to suggest what you're saying was true. People who get COVID vaccines won't get the COVID. The only people who are dying are people who didn't get the COVID vaccine. Chuck Todd, what evidence are you do you provide to your commentary that backs up your assertion, that backs up your claim? Oh, you don't have that data. Trump makes an assertion at the time without any evidence, without any data to suggest that he's right, and you say it's automatically false because Donald Trump said it. This is propaganda. To believe in a dogmatic pattern of behavior or a pattern of response. And this is the doom loop that liberal media has fallen into. And JD Vance had an interesting conversation about propagandists and how moving forward, how Donald Trump's going to treat these propagandists. And you kind of got a sense of it with Caitlin Collins. But here's JD Vance in his own words.
I actually think that we are looking very seriously about which reporters show up. Because if you're a reporter, even if you're biased towards the left, absolutely we want to answer your questions. If you're a propagandist for the Democratic Party, then we're going to treat you like a propagandist for the Democratic Party. And one of the things that I think we've already done, again, we're only 8 days into this thing, is it's not just who's not there, it's also who is present. And Karoline had a lot of new media folks, a lot of young people who represent, I think, the vanguard of news media in this country. She gave Matt Boyle from Breitbart a question yesterday. These are actually some of the people who are driving news in 2025 in America. And I think, frankly, the MSNBCs, the CNNs of the world, they should take the hint. Your viewership is way down. Your ratings are abysmal. Why is it that especially young people are tuning into new media? Maybe it's because instead of engaging in propaganda, the new media is asking real questions. I mean, Joe Rogan, one of the biggest voices in American media now, he was a Bernie bro 8 years ago. This is not like some crazy right-wing guy. This is just a person who's asking questions. And unfortunately, most of the old media, they're just not interested in that. I actually think
that was a great video, right? Because it shows you how dominated by the left the media has become. If you look at not the ratings, if you look at news media, if you just Google search right now, media bias, it'll show out data of how majority of journalists are Democrat. Democrats are the largest proponent of media, of journalism. Journalism is considered the most liberal profession in the United States of America. And I put on Twitter, hey, it's a new era. Rootless podcast. I never heard of the Rootless podcast, but I've seen clips of them with Megyn Kelly. They were able to ask a question to the House, to the White House. And I put on my X post, it's a new era. This is the new era. You got podcasters asking questions directly to the White House secretary alongside corporate media. And you wonder why Chuck Todd quit his corporate news job. Let's get into the clip.
And in lighter news, but in exciting news, after announcing our briefing room changes on Wednesday, this White House has received more than 10,000 submissions from individuals across the country who are eager to join all of you. We might have to make this room a little bit bigger to do that, who want to participate in our new media seat at a future briefing. So in this seat today, we have the Ruthless podcast. They humbly started by entertaining small audiences on Capitol Hill, but after 4 years, this program has become one of the most influential podcasts in America.
Before she continues, I wonder how much of the ego of the corporate media must be in the toilet because they're sitting next to people who essentially do videos out of their room. I wonder how they're taking it. Let's continue.
America. They previously reached #1 on the charts and earned over 25 million downloads as they deliver political news with a humorous touch. The hosts are Josh Holmes, Michael Duncan, Comfortably Smug, and the man joining us today, John Ashbrook. So with that, I will take your questions. John, please kick us off.
Thank you very much. Karoline, in your first briefing, the media went after this administration for deporting illegal immigrants they claimed were not criminals. The question is, do you think they're out of touch with Americans demanding action on our border crisis?
The media
Now, this is a question I would have asked if I was in the room, too.
out of touch? I think the media certainly is out of touch, and I think that's proven by a number of things, John. Number one, there was a New York Times poll that was released prior to President Trump's inauguration by the New York Times, which of course is a legacy media outlet, that showed that 83% of Americans support deporting the individuals that you mentioned, illegal immigrant criminals, especially those who have committed heinous crimes in the interior of our country. And I received a very actually interesting statistic on this front from ICE this week. 97% of the deportations that this administration has made thus far are of individuals who had a removal order from the previous administration, but were never removed from the interior of our country. So this shows that the previous administration was actually defying our laws, and all this administration is doing.
Imagine this is how Democrats end up losing elections. Imagine American people, 83%, like all the illegals they did just deported. What, 10 days since Donald Trump became president? All of them had orders for them to be removed, and they stayed in the country. Joe Biden was like, they can stay. They can stay. I'm looking at the comment section. Joy Risa says the Democratic Party is collapsing. This is going to be the next segment, but I just want to finish off my thoughts here. Like, imagine here. Listen to this. Let's listen again.
Shows that the previous administration was actually defying our laws, and all this administration is doing is simply following the laws, the immigration laws of this great country. Thanks for the question, John.
That was a new media question. This is what a podcaster asked her, and you wonder why people want to get their news online, because there's not this weird coordination that's going on in the background, like we see out in the open with corporate media. They all get their talking points from the same damn seem like script. And if you're new here, you're watching, please like the video. Helps out the channel get more outreach. So I'm moving on to the next segment because I'm going with y'all really came here for. Y'all ain't come here to listen about how Chuck Todd lost his job. That rhymed. We're going to get into a little bit about the Democrats' strategy and how essentially Democrats learned nothing. Democrats' strategy says that immigration crackdown means no one's going to be able to pick berries for smoothies. Yeah, that's what you're worried about, America, right? You're worried. Look, America, illegal immigrants cost us $150 billion, according to Doge. But you know what Democratic strategist says? Democratic strategist said that cracking down on immigration means we won't have blueberries. I don't remember blueberries costing $150 billion, guys. You want to watch let's watch the clip. Let's watch the clip because this is going to be interesting. And can you guess the gender of the person who said this statement? Can you guess? A white liberal woman. Yes, you heard that right. You heard that right.
If you are trying to actively hire illegal immigrants, if you think that's best, if you are trying to game the system, if you are trying to help someone break U.S. federal immigration law, I think if we're going to have a true crackdown on illegal immigration in this country, it has to involve everybody who's participating in it. And I think you've raised a good point with this topic. And so employers and anyone else who's part of this pipeline, I think they ought to be put on notice. And you got to play by the rule. Everybody has to play by the rules.
I don't want to hear that they're doing work that no one else will do. Talk to guys in the building trades, plumbers, contractors.
Picking strawberries.
These building trades guys are being.
Hey, I agree with Joe in the chat. Joe says that my friends are Democrats. They think my beautiful black friends are ignorant, and my black brothers and sisters are very intelligent. People are always gonna look. It's statistics, man. Democrats have to say this to make themselves feel better. And another point about who's gonna pick our blueberries. We have prisoners. We have people who commit crimes. People in jail who they got life sentences, and taxpayer money essentially is being used to keep them alive, even though they cause harm to the society. We can use them to, hey, you guys gonna pick our cotton. You guys gonna pick our blueberries. We don't need to put illegals, and we don't need to make illegals do those things. And this is why it's costing us so much money. But I hate this narrative, and I always push back against this narrative, this idea that Americans don't want to do these jobs. But they never want to bring up the point about how corporations are actively undercutting the American worker by putting these illegals in there. And Democrats back in the day during Bill, I'm not that old, but looking back in history, Bill Clinton used to talk about how illegal immigration, mass migration hurt union workers, aka the wages of the working class. Now Democrats in 2025, they're singing a different tune. Now they're so elitist and so wealthy because the Democrats are the party of the wealthy. That's a fact. That's a fact. Democrats are the party of the wealthy. If you look at the average income of Democratic voters, they tend to be higher than people who voted for Donald Trump this year. So now they're the party of the wealthy. That's why you hear this out of touch characterization of, oh my God, who's gonna pick our cotton? Who's gonna mow your lawn? If we deport all the illegals, there'll be no one to mow your lawn. Liberals actually said this on TV, on CNN. On CNN. And I'm like, this is commentary that my mom sits there and just listens to all day? My mom loves CNN. I don't know why. I don't like CNN. I argue with my mom all the time about CNN. I said, Mom, you're not learning anything there. She's just like, no, Trump's bad. I need to know. I digress. Let's finish up the clip because I got more clips for you. Because when you see how out of touch the Democrats have learned nothing, essentially, is what I'm trying to get. This is just substantiating my point. So that way, when a liberal find my video and they looking back, they can't say I'm making stuff up or I'm talking out of thin air. Oh, I forget I'm not on Twitter.
Being hurt
I can't
by
wait.
labor that shouldn't be here.
I can't wait until American women can't get blueberries for their smoothies. I cannot wait until there is a full crackdown on all small businesses, as if that's going to be the solution to the immigration problem. It is just going to put immigration-related issues further into the darker corners. We're not going to see them. It's just going to become even harder to solve the problem. It doesn't make sense to punish individuals and people when there is a broken system.
I mean, look, I think if you came here illegally and you came, you did it.
You broke the law.
You have to understand it's a new day in America. And number two, I still think the case for total economic collapse, if we have some deportation, is totally overstated. I mean, it's obvious the priority is violent criminals, and the second priority is people with existing deportation.
Yeah, and imagine being Selena Gomez crying over this. Imagine, I'm telling you, it's not a good look. Majority of Americans want mass deportation, right? Majority of Americans want tax. Like, look how much money we could be saving if we're able to deport illegals out of our country. Look, this is how much money we can be saving. Democrats talking about, oh, it's impossible. It's impossible for people, for Doge to be able to cut $1 trillion. Did you know just recently? I'm sidetracking just a little bit, but I'm promising you, I'll make this point relevant, right? The Democrats we spent about $1 billion on DEI, if I remember correctly, on the government. Here you go. Over $1 billion in DEI-related U.S. government contracts canceled. We just saved $1 billion just by canceling DEI from all these departments. You see these departments? You see all these agencies, these departments? Look, we saved $1 billion. $1 billion. This is promises made, promises kept. This is what we wanted, right? That money can be allocated for something else, but at least we have it there. And this goes to show why the favorability for the Democrats are at an all-time low. If you're new to this channel, there's a poll that came out. I'm going to show you the poll right here, if I can find it. Let me see where's the poll. Democrats' favorability is under the water. It's underwater, right? If you're a frequent watcher on my channel, you saw this article at least 3 times already. Dems' favorability underwater by 26 points while Trump enjoys net positive rating. I wonder why. Could it be that Donald Trump saved us $1 billion by cutting out all this DEI crap that contributed to putting us at risk with our safety with the FAA? And you know which group of people looks at Democrats the least favorably? Independents. Independents only look at Democrats 22% favorably, while everyone overall, all the respondents look at them only 31% favorably. Make it make sense. This is the Democratic Party, but the Democratic Party, they have learned nothing. Kenny, what makes you say that? What makes you say that the Democrats have not learned anything? Well, there's this forum where Democrats sit around and talk to each other and blame the voters for racism and sexism. Yes, the Democrats are blaming the American voters for being racist and sexist. Every candidate for the DNC chair believes racism, misogyny is to blame for Kamala's loss. Boom, boom, boom. Each candidate for the DNC chair raised their hand to agree that racism and misogyny play a role in the Vice President Harris' defeat. Let me know in the chat, do you believe this? Do you believe this? No. Common sense person says no. Independent says no. You lost the election, Kamala Harris, because you went on The View and said that you would not do anything differently than Joe Biden, the least popular president in modern U.S. history. The man with the lowest approval ratings ever, the lowest, lower than Trump after January 6, 2021. Joe Biden left office with the lowest approval ratings ever at like sub 20%. And Kamala Harris said on The View that she would not do anything differently than Joe Biden. That cost her the election. But it's so weird. Democrats are so weird. This is why I said the Democrats have not learned nothing. Kamala Harris, if you've been paying attention, Kamala Harris ran in 2020 for the 2020 election, right? Many people, like if you look at I have videos. I wish I had them ready here. I have videos of CNN saying this is the criticism they had for Kamala Harris when she lost her 2020 presidential bid, when she got destroyed by Tulsi Gabbard. Her biggest critique was Kamala Harris does not know how to talk to people who are not Democrats because she's been in what? California. All she knows how to do is talk to liberals, Democrats, because that's all she had to do in California. She don't know how to talk to people who are not Democrats. You saw it during the election. You saw it during the campaign age. But do anyone on the DNC actually critique Kamala Harris about what she did wrong and give her any actionable feedback which she can actually do something with? No, they don't do that. And I'm going to say a wise man once said that criticism is a gift in of itself, because criticism, whether it's positive or negative, it's feedback. And it gives you opportunity to reevaluate what you did, your decisions, your actions, your thinking. It gives you an opportunity to reflect on what you've done. And if you never receive criticism, you'll never have that opportunity to self-reflect. And this is what they're doing to Kamala Harris. This is why Kamala Harris still thinks that she could run for governor in 2026. This is why Kamala Harris, if you look at the polls right now, this is why I said the Democrats have not learned anything. Kamala Harris is still the front runner for 2028. Yeah, you heard me correctly. I'm not lying. I'm not lying. But I digress. Enough of my rant. Let's get into the clip, because this is what y'all came here to see.
In this round, so I'm going to I have a show of hands. How many of you believe that racism and misogyny played a role in Vice President Harris's defeat? Okay.
Let me let you know.
So that's good. You all pass.
Imagine that. Like, that's not a joke. Let's play it again, because I can't believe my ears.
In this round, so I'm going to I have a show of hands. How many of you believe that racism and misogyny played a role in Vice President Harris's defeat? Okay.
This is a purity test. Like, this is like when you know when you go to church and they say praise the Lord and you don't say it loud enough, and it's a compliance test. Like, how in lockstep are you with the party? That's essentially what it is. And, I got to show you guys Bootleg Obama. If you're new to this channel, Bootleg Obama is a certain minority leader for the House Democrat. His name is Hakeem Jeffries. But on my channel, I call him, in black conservative circles, he's known as Discount Obama, according to Greg Foreman of the Black Conservative Perspective YouTube channel. He calls him Discount Obama. I call him Bootleg Obama, but it doesn't matter. The names, they mean the same thing. They mean the same thing. So after Trump criticizes the FAA, Hakeem Jeffries is going to try to make this argument that somehow Trump disparaged black people in this segment. He tried, end of the day, this is politics, right? This is the political game, right? And this is what I'm tired of. Let's argue about substance. But instead, Bootleg Obama here is going to try to make, I guess, bring attention to himself. And this is not the first thing. He has other things too that I want to highlight here. But it's just another example that the Democrats have not learned anything about their loss. They have not self-reflected, because the minute Trump won, it became all about Trump. Like, look at the corporate media. I think they touched upon Kamala Harris losing. They don't touch the fact, like, this is the DNC forum. Like, you're supposed to be learning what you did wrong and be better. But, who here believes that Kamala Harris lost because of sexism and misogyny? Oh, sorry, racism and misogyny. All of them raise their hand. They don't have a single, so you're going to double down on wokeness. Oh, okay.
This is a tragedy that occurred above DCA airport. Lives have been lost. Families have been devastated. People are suffering. And the leader of this country decides to go out and peddle lies, conspiracy theories, and attack people of color and women without any basis.
Last time I checked, Donald Trump did not personally attack anyone. He attacked a process. He attacked a structure, an incentive structure saying that, hey, we need race-based quotas, and we're going to discriminate against people who happen to be our most qualified people. Usually is veterans and white people that do these air traffic jobs. We're going to discriminate against them, so that way we can put more black people into these positions. Oh, black people don't like these positions? Let's bring up more incentives. Let's make it easier for them to get into it. Let's try to market to them so they can come into these industries. And Donald Trump says that is played a factor to why there was a shortage in the air traffic that happened during the DC disaster. That's the point. But you, discount Obama, you're politicizing this. You want to claim, oh, Donald Trump people lost their lives, Donald Trump's being insensitive, but I can say that you're using these people's lives as a platform to boost your own name recognition, to self-congratulate yourself, to push out this fake virtue that you're trying to sing in front of us. One thing about politicians that I don't accept them when they try to do these little moral games that they're like Hakeem Jeffries is doing here. We all know why you're doing this. You're trying to score some type of political point for your side. I don't know what you're trying to do here. But it's nothing that is actually going to get to the root cause of, hey, how can we prevent this from happening again? And this is why Donald Trump went, hey, no more DEI. And everyone in America is tired of DEI. Look, you see my chocolatey skin? We tired of DEI. We tired of people going to us and hurting competent black people who's actually good at their job. And people have to look at them with a side eye like, did you really get this position not because of DEI and all this stuff? This is why. Today, I just did a video with Trump about Trump slamming DEI standards. The fact that they focus so much on your race, that your race decides everything about you. They categorize people on race. DEI breeds more racism. DEI is racism under new management. And because Donald Trump blames DEI, which is the standards, the programs, the incentives, the initiatives that caused the shortage to happen, where you got FAA having a lawsuit against them because a bunch of air traffic control applicants said that they were rejected because of their skin color. You just forget about all that. The Democrats have learned nothing. I'll let bootleg Obama finish.
Whatsoever, have you no decency? Have you no respect?
Paul calling the kettle black. Have you no decency? Using this tragedy for a political platform to spew your political BS. Have you no decency? Have you no shame? It's a mirror, bro. Don't see it. This what I'm done. I'm done listening to bootleg Obama. This is what caused the Democrats to lose in the first place. Everyone sees your pretentious game. Like, everyone sees the fake virtue signaling, the fake virtue that Democrats pretend they got. Oh, we care about the people. Oh, sure you do. Sure you do. Yeah, sure. Oh, we care about the health. Like, imagine, here's an example. I'm going to show you an example. Because Democrats, they don't learn nothing, bro. Here's an example. Here's a piece of an exchange between RFK and a Democrat. Listen to this.
Because sometimes science is wrong. We make progress. We build on the work and we become more successful. And when you continue to sow doubt about settled science, it makes it impossible for us to move forward. Because
So she contradicted herself. First, she said, "Oh, look, science can be wrong, right?" What RFK's like? Imagine going against a guy who says, "Hey, all I want to do is have transparency. All I want to do is have good science. All I want to do is make sure we're doing the right thing. Settled science, but science can be wrong." Contradiction. Just a walking contradiction, right? And they're sitting here thinking they're on the right side of things. And it's not just
as HHS secretary.
It's not
I think
just Democratic politicians. It's also these like liberal pundits too. These liberal influencers, these liberal people who speak and supposed to, keep the Democrats accountable. They're blind to what the American people want too. Robert F. Kennedy has the highest approval rating out of all Trump's cabinet picks. And Democrats give him the most flack. Look, Democrats don't learn nothing. I got a clip too of RFK exposing Bernie Sanders about the big money he takes from Big Pharma, how he got 3 houses, but he want to pretend that he's fighting for the poor. This is kind of fakeness that Democrats got exposed in the 2024 election. When they're pretending, oh, we're better than Donald Trump. You shouldn't elect Donald Trump, but you lie like you claim he lies. You weaponize the DOJ. Now you pretending he's going to weaponize the DOJ against you. The Democrats are the kind of people that they'll punch you in the face and say, oh, we need to stop fighting. Like, make it make sense. So after you get a good punch in, now you want us to stop fighting. This is the Democrat Party. You weaponize the government against Donald Trump. Now Donald Trump's in power. You don't want him to weaponize it. Oh, I think we need to stop the divisiveness. But when they were in power, they were calling MAGA right-wing extremists. Y'all remember that? Remember 2022? Democrats love to dish it out, but they sure as hell can't take it. But I digress. I got another clip for you guys. This is a liberal pundit. I think her name is Crystal Ball. I forget her name, but let's get into this.
As HHS secretary, I think that he could be incredibly, actually deadly for this nation, especially as we're heading into the possibility we have an ongoing threat of an avian flu pandemic. There is a vaccine, by the way, that exists for avian flu. And guess what? RFK Jr. has gone out and said that he doesn't think it's safe. So
maybe he's right. What do we know about bird flu vaccines? What are we going to trust Dr. Fauci and the rest of these people?
Sagar.
See? Caught. And the Democrats, I think one thing, their supporters, their voters, people who support their side, that's one thing they need to get past. They need to get past this idea that just because they're a liberal, just because they're a Democrat, that people should automatically trust what they have to say. I think liberals need to drop that now because y'all lost the popular vote. Y'all don't have the popular opinion, but look how they strutting their stuff. Cocky, doubling, tripling. They standing 10 toes down. They talking like they won the election by an electoral landslide. They talking like Kamala Harris is in office right now. Look how they approach. No humility whatsoever. But look how she talked with such authority. But your side has been wrong on damn near everything. 6 feet. Masks don't work. Mask work. What else? Vaccinated people don't die from COVID. COVID is life-threatening. The COVID didn't come from the COVID didn't come from China. The COVID didn't come from a lab leak. Y'all been wrong on so many things on this, and now you want to cry about the avian flu. Now you want to go with the same playbook. And when someone asks you questions, oh, I don't think that's true. I don't think it's dangerous. Oh, conspiracy theory. Conspiracy theory is just a way for liberals to slander you and try to discredit you in the eyes of other people. Because in my estimation, liberals, they try to control people's perception. They try to inform a perception. They try to make you believe a narrative instead of telling you or informing you of a truth or of a perspective. That's why I say I can respect someone who openly tells you they're biased, because they're trying to express a view to you. They're trying to give you a perspective. But these people pretend that, oh, we're objective. We're objective. No, you're not. You're not objective. Just look at the angle. You don't know for sure this thing is dangerous, but you pretending that you're saying it in a factual way. This is misleading. This is the propaganda that J.D. Vance just finished talking about in his segment. But I'll let the video finish out.
Guess what? RFK Jr. has gone out and said that he doesn't think it's safe. So
maybe he's right. What do we know about bird flu vaccines? What are we going to trust Dr. Fauci and the rest of these people? This is part of what I'm getting at here with the HHS. How can it be worse than right now? You're saying it's deadly. We're already living in a deadly country.
It could be worse. It could be worse by reducing vaccination rates and having polio and measles outbreaks and people dying. But again,
most of these children are going to.
That's disingenuous. RFK said he wouldn't touch measles and all this other vaccine. And this is the funny part. These people want to pretend they're so healthy, they're so health conscious and all this stuff. And I don't know how we got into a health conversation, but there's this guy, he's going to call out the hypocrisy here. Because things that are actually more like closely detrimental to your health, like your diet, like what you eat, RFK's been right on a lot of things. Remember when he would say, oh, food dyes cause cancer? Conspiracy theorists. This lady would have been like, oh no, RFK's saying a conspiracy theory. When RFK said that food coloring causes cancer. Now, the science came out and said, yeah, RFK was right. There's cancer concerns with this red dye red dye number 3. Another thing they've been wrong about. And it's the same thing with the vaccine stuff. Because earlier in the clip, you had a Democrat saying, oh, science is settled, but no, science could be wrong, but the science is settled, and you're making people doubt vaccines and all this stuff. You know how long the FDA has been saying that red dyes don't cause any cancer? They've been saying it for 40 years. Since the 60s, they were saying that there was nothing wrong with red dye. Now in 2025, they admit, yeah, something's wrong with red dye. You don't think the same pattern cannot play out with vaccines? With certain vaccines? The arrogance of the liberal. Democrats, y'all have learned nothing. Y'all not humble at all. That's one thing I'm noticing a lot. At least when conservatives lose, they go, damn, we didn't explain our vision correctly to the American people. We need to stand for something, not just against something. Republicans and conservatives, you can see that they reflect on what they did and they change their approach a little bit. Okay, let's not be so shouty about abortions. Okay, the American people don't agree with us on abortion, but we're going to try to convince them in a different way. We're going to meet them in the middle on this issue. Are the Democrats doing any type of soul searching? No. They're doubling, tripling down, saying, no, America, you racist because you don't want to elect a mixed woman to be your president. You elected Donald Trump twice over women. America's so misogynist that the only way Donald Trump would lose if we had ran a man. That's the narrative that the liberals are going with. Ridiculous. Eric Schroeder says, I remember the good old days when we all had to worry about all we had to worry about was red dye number 5. Now you got yellow 2, or was it blue 2? Like that, bro. Don't even get me started on this food debate, bro.
So then he should support healthcare for all, Medicare
look, I understand that that's your position, but that's not what the American people voted for under Donald Trump. This is clearly like
what can he even do about nutrition at HHS? That falls under the ag secretary would be in a much better position
HHS
to deal with that sort of
dietary
stuff.
guidelines, as he talks about with SNAP. He will have immense regulatory authority. I mean, this is part of what I'm talking about with this vaccine thing. Look, I completely understand. And I used to be really in this camp. I just don't see how it could be bad to publish the studies and the safety data and then leave parents with some choice.
Exactly. These liberals, they pretend that we're for choice, we're for choice. No. They're for you making a certain choice. Oh, I believe everyone has the right to be anything they want, except a conservative. That's in my head. That's how liberals talk in my head. Like, everyone has the right to be whatever you wanted to be, as long as you're not a conservative. Because they want to control what you, like, at the end of the day, it's all about control in a different way. They want to practice soft power. But I digress. I'm gonna cover the DNC chair forum and how it got weird real quick. So, one candidate breaks into song for opening statement. I'm not watching that. I'm trying to find one. Climate protesters derailed the forum from the beginning. Let's check it out. Let's check this out because this is some craziness right here. Let's see. 6 hours. Whoo.
Make sure my mic is on. You got me. I'm gonna kick off our questioning tonight. And I will just have you know, we are are going to ask the questions from this stage. There will be a moment where we will take questions from the audience, but I would ask. Thank you so much. We appreciate your enthusiasm. We are going to ask the questions from this stage. We'll ask that you please take a seat.
This is a question we're going to ask.
Damn, yeah, she really did derail this whole damn thing. Oh my God, you saw the clip. You already saw this one. Every candidate agrees that Kamala Harris lost because of racism, misogyny. I think I want to listen more into this. Let's listen more into this. This is going to be a fun one.
Going to, I have a show of hands. How many of you believe that racism and misogyny played a role in Vice President Harris's defeat?
It's not the fact that you guys said that inflation was transitory, that we wasn't in a recession, that the economy was good, right? It wasn't because Democrats were saying all these things and during Democrats' governance, things just got worse for the common American in this country. No. It wasn't because of the bad outcomes of your governance, right? California is damn near under fire. The entire state's on fire because of the lack of oversight, the lack of preparedness from the Democratic governance of California, right? They worrying about Donald Trump. They have $53 million for Donald Trump, but they're cutting budgets for the firefighters. They wasn't expecting their equipment, making sure that the fire hydrants can give water. They didn't do their due diligence to make sure that they're prepared for any wildfire disaster. No. It wasn't that. It's because of racism, right? These people, I honestly believe that they use these racisms, these isms, racism, misogyny, sexism, homophobia, all these labels. They use them merely as an alibi to excuse themselves of accountability. That's just the reality of it. Let's continue.
Okay. So that's good. You all pass.
No critical thinking.
All right. So, Faz, I'll come to you on this one. Given that President Trump ran and he openly and consistently employed racist and misogynistic rhetoric on the campaign trail.
One thing I can't stand about these people is when they make these accusations, I want some examples. Okay, what example do you say that Donald Trump said something sexist or racist? Give me a statement, right? At least that's what I try to do. If I find something I don't like, I try to explain why I don't like it. But these people, they just say it as if it's just matter of fact, like it's obvious. It's clear when it's just merely their interpretation. I mean, these people just finished calling the American voters racist and sexist because they didn't want to elect a half Indian woman. I digress.
We cannot ignore the role of fear and hate in Vice President Harris's defeat. How would you, as DNC chair, handle voter prejudices while also addressing their real concerns about substantive policy issues?
I want to answer that while I discuss the media thing, because I've been for now 4 years ago, launched a media organization, run a media organization called More Perfect Union that focused on doing video-based journalism. And it has wildly succeeded. We got 400+ million views last year. The YouTube channel is now over 1.4 million subscribers. By comparison, the Democratic channel has 76,000 that started in 2006. What is going on? It isn't a problem of tubes and pipes. It is content. You have to wake up every day with a direction of what type of content will work on these platforms. Now, in my view,
one that's truthful, one that highlights results, one that actually informs the American people. Like, end of the day, you can have your perspectives, your opinions, your beliefs, but if it's not demonstratable, it's hard to convince people of like what's going on. And this forum here is supposed to be like you guys of self-evaluating yourselves and asking yourself some hard questions why you lost the 2024 election. And 6 hours, you wasted 6 hours of your lives, and y'all not even criticizing the way that Kamala Harris ran her campaign. Kamala Harris rose $1 billion, and she was in $20 million in debt. And she still could, like, she wasted the money. She squandered the money. She gave Oprah $1 million. Why you need to give Oprah, a billionaire, $1 million? What you doing that for? How did you use the money? Y'all not reviewing your tactics. Y'all not reviewing your approach, your messaging, how the American people perceive your messaging. Y'all not going over the polls of how Joe Biden went from the most popular president in U.S. history, 2020, to being leaving office as the worst. There's no self-evaluation. Here, as an independent, I could take this as you guys, it seemed like you guys are just trying to cheer yourselves up. Oh, Jimmy, you did such a good, you played so well. Me, your boy Jimmy only had 2 points and he missed 15 shots. That wasn't a good game. You tried your best, Jimmy. A for effort. This is how this forum is coming across to me as an independent, right-leaning independent. Y'all trying to pat yourselves in the back and give yourselves moral victories. Everybody and their mom can see that you guys learn nothing. If you was a serious party, right, and now we're gonna get into the more substantive stuff, right? Here's a Adavich. Sorry guys, I messed up this. I butchered this guy's name. Have the Democrats learned nothing? Candidates for the DNC chair, Quantisha Heatherway focuses on DEI during the forum at Georgetown University. Do I even need to play the video? Right? Do I need to play the video? She wants to run as chair. This is her message.
Racism has not gone away since 20 people of African descent came upon these shores at Jamestown, Virginia in 1619. And it's going
You quoting revisionist history, 1619's revisionist history, but okay, continue.
to require us to think and behave in a new way. It is systemic, it is structural when it comes to addressing diversity.
The only thing systemically holding black people back is the cultural incentives that we instill in our kids. We teach our kids, oh, it's better to be an athlete, it's better to be the rapper. We glorify these things, and you wonder why black people overwhelmingly are disproportionately represented in the NBA. The NBA is 78% black. You don't hear DEI, NBA needs DEI. You don't hear none of that crap. That's why I say DEI is racism under new management, but they still want to push DEI and they didn't learn any lessons about DEI, right? Trump is right about Democrats have a history of racial scandals in the aviation. You worrying about DEI, but DEI contributed to people losing their lives. But the DNC chair, what they focusing on? This. When there's more substantive things they could be focused on, right? Here, if the Democrats was a serious party, right? And this is why I said the Democratic Party, they're lost. They're lost right now. They're a lost party. They have no leadership. They got no direction. All they're doing is falling to old habits. Old habits die hard. Insanity. This is the Democratic Party. Look, as an independent, this is the most neutral point I can make if Democrats want to actually have a chance 2026. Because in my estimation, as an independent, I see no reason for an American to elect a Democrat. I'm being honest. People can disagree with me in the comment section. People can disagree with me in real life. I don't care. There's no reason, if you are an American, if you're an illegal, I can see why you would vote for a Democrat, right? If you're a rich person, I see why you can vote for a Democrat. If you're well-connected, I see why you will vote for a Democrat. But if you're a working class person, if you're an average American like me, you go to work every day, you take care of your kids, right? You buy groceries, damn near expensive, damn near takes half your paycheck when you go out to go buy groceries. If you're an American like me, yeah, there's no reason for you to vote Democrat. I have more respect for people who said, I won't vote, than voting for a Democrat. I'm on that time. That's the kind of time I'm on right now. But I digress. This is what Democrats need to hear.
But I know, and you know, that politics is a combat sport. Sometimes you get knocked down. The important thing is what you do when you get back up and keep moving forward. That is how the Democratic Senate candidates won in states across the country, even when President Trump carried those states. So in Wisconsin, in Arizona, in Nevada, in Michigan, our Democratic candidates, Tammy Baldwin, Ruben Gallego, Jackie Rosen, Alyssa Slotkin, emerged victorious. So you have to know, how did they do it? a relentless, unwavering focus on the issues that matter to those voters the most. The cost of things, the cost of eggs, the cost of meat, the cost of milk. Public safety, can my daughter walk to school on her own? Can she walk through the park? Can my family know that they're safe?
The Democrats, I need to get back to this. Democrats, like, I did a video about how woke Democrats are losing the American people, like how woke Democrats are costing the support of the American people. This is common sense crap. Like I'm being honest. This is like 2008 Democrat stuff. Move back to the center, Democrats. But you had some Democrats arguing that Democrats wasn't left-wing enough. So you got these two warring conflict of visions in the Democratic Party. You got what I just showed you, the monstrosity that I just finished showing you, with MSNBC moderating the forum. You wonder why it's so woke and progressive. They want you to double down on this stuff. And then there's the more corporate centrist, the 2008 style Democrat saying, no, let's get back to the middle. Let's get back to the middle. Let's stop worrying about the social stuff. Let's stop advocating for transgender stuff. Let's get back to the issues that Americans actually care about. Americans cared about the immigration issue. How Democrats approach the immigration issue. They want to do a buzzer beater last minute adjustment, deport a bunch of people, but they want to forget they let in 23 million people the last 3 years. Oh, we deported 1.5 million people. We deported more people than Donald Trump. Donald Trump let in less people, and Donald Trump deported more people. Deported the same amount of people. So you did nothing on the border. Donald Trump only let 4 million people cross the border during his entire term. His entire term. Joe Biden beat that within the year. He had more border crossings than Donald Trump 6 times, 7 times, 8 times over. And he bragging, we deported more people than Donald Trump. Yeah, you let in more people than Donald Trump too. And you thought the American people would trust you on this issue? Ridiculous. But these are the Democrats that won the swing states. I told Democrats, if they were smart, they'll look at what Eric Adams is doing, what John Fetterman is kind of doing. He's still being a Democrat, but he's being like, a sensible one. He's appearing sensible compared to the rest of them. But you going out here attacking RFK, you think you're doing yourself a disservice? You think you're doing yourself a service, Democrats? I don't mean to lecture. But I'm just an independent voter. Who is the voting bloc that don't like you the most? Independents.
These were the issues that voters were most focused on in those purple and red states. And it makes sense. If you are worried about putting food on the table, if you're worried about whether your kids are going to be safe at school or whether your first responders are getting attacked on the subway by gang members, these worries will dominate your thinking. You won't be thinking as much about other issues, whether it's democracy or reproductive rights or the environment. And so
yeah, imagine single women. Single women surprised me. A large portion of them, I think 45% of them voted for Donald Trump. Single women. I thought, Democrats about to run it up with the single women. The single women were like, nah, the economy killing me, B. And they voted for Trump at 44%. Yeah, Democrats won the majority of single women, but it didn't matter. A large portion of them went towards Republicans. I was surprised because they know Donald Trump wasn't going to ban abortion. Donald Trump said, I'm not for abortion ban, either pro or for abortion, against or for abortion. I'm not signing abortion laws in the federal law. That's a state issue. That's what Donald Trump kept saying. It's a state issue. And the Democrats lost their power there. They couldn't run on the economy because they're the reason why the economy is the way it was before because of what? Government spending. Government spending creates inflation. That's been known throughout history. You print money, you devalue our money, aka inflation.
Just have to reckon with what people are thinking and how they voted and why they voted the way they did. These kinds of issues have always been at the heart of the Democratic Party and American families. If Democrats are going to win, we have to make sure that these issues remain at the forefront of the message. It doesn't have to be the only message. We're always going to care about everything else, but they have to hear it. And there's a lot of noise. You know how much noise there is. People receive their news not from television, not from the newspaper, but from their phones.
I think you heard enough, right? You see the common sense Democrats, right? That hey, y'all need to start listening, right? Y'all need to stop listening to Bernie Sanders, right? Because I got one thing for you guys. Bernie Sanders. Oh, Democrats, y'all don't learn nothing, bro. It's crazy. I'm about to wrap up, but I got some more jabs in me.
Healthier than other countries in the world right now.
Will you guarantee do what every other major country does? That's a simple question.
And by the way, Bernie, the problem of corruption is not just in the federal agencies; it's in Congress too. Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry.
Oh no!
And protecting their interests.
Oh, I thought that.
Oh my God, yo, this is the kind of stuff that be getting Democrats, right? When Democrats saying, "Oh, Donald Trump, he's a liar, he's this and that," and then everything. Trump was right about right about COVID, right? He was right about how, hey, if you let Joe Biden win this election, he's gonna wreck the economy. He kind of wrecked the economy. Highest inflation rate in 40 years, 2022. Joe Biden. They had to change the definition of recession for Joe Biden just so they don't have to report that we're in a recession. But it sure hell felt like we were in a recession. If you was a young college kid trying to break into the workforce, it was hard for you to find a job. They want to talk, oh, Trump's authoritarian. Trump is this. But Biden's the one who broke precedent and raided the house of a former president. The Democratic Party cries about how Donald Trump's a threat to democracy, but in the same breath did not allow democracy in their own party. I'm an independent who lives in Florida, right? And the Democratic Party in Florida did not allow any other candidate to register in the primaries here. So only option as a Democrat, if you was a Florida Democrat, the only option you had to vote for in the primary was Joe Biden. That was your only option. But this is the party that was supposed to be defending democracy. This is the kind of hypocritical crap that Democrats keeps getting caught by. They keep trying to pretend that they're better. They're so much better than you. They're so much more virtuous than you. And then you look around and you see they're doing the exact same thing, if not worse, than what they claim the other guy is. Conservatives have this saying amongst our circles that we like, and I would like to reiterate it here. When a Democrat make an accusation against someone else, 9 times out of 10, it's a confession about what they're doing. I digress. Let's hear how Bernie defends his virtue here.
No. I ran for president like you. I got millions and millions of contributions. They did not come from the executives, not one nickel of PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. They came from workers.
In 2020, you were the single largest
because I had
receiver of pharmaceutical money.
Contributions from workers all over this country. Workers,
you were the single,
not a nickel from corporate PACs.
You were the single largest acceptor of pharmaceutical dollars.
No, from workers in
1.5 million.
Yeah, out of 200 million. All right, but.
So RFK called him out here. Democrats, y'all don't learn, bro. Y'all don't learn, bro. Y'all don't learn. I think common sense is returning to the world. People are not falling for it anymore, right? Scott Jennings says, I endorse this post-memorandum analysis and encourage my Democratic friends to double down or even triple down on this idea that Kamala Harris lost because of her sex and her race, right? There's another one I want to highlight here is that, foreign aid, right? We us conservatives, American people, we're tired of being treated like second-class citizens in our own country, right? And I always make this analogy that I feel like Americans, taxpayers, we're treated like slaves. Like, think about it. Slaves, the fruits of your labor are taken from you and used and distributed by someone who didn't even have to work for it, right? $150 billion went to house migrant care for illegal immigrants, right? We didn't have a say. How much billions of dollars they sent to Ukraine, Israel, all these foreign countries, and ask them how much they spent on us exclusively. If you make a monetary comparison about the amount of money they spent outside the country versus the amount of money they spent in this country, you're going to find out a lot of our money go out. And this African leader, right? Because remember, Trump put a freeze on foreign aid for 90 days because he wants to evaluate where our money is going, right? Like what they put out $50 billion, not 50. I'm exaggerating, guys, but they're selling millions of dollars of taxpayers' dollars for condoms in Gaza, right? They're going to send millions to the World Health Organization, even though Donald Trump just said, hey, I signed an executive order that I'm taking the United States out of the World Health Organization. Why are we trying to send money to them when I just let out an executive order? Now you got all these globalist countries like Europe, the World Economic Forum. They're so angry over the fact that Donald Trump is like, oh no, I'm freezing foreign aid. And it just shows you how a lot of these countries, they're so reliant on our tax money that Donald Trump says, hey, I'm not going to give money to the outside world for 3 months. And they throwing a hissy fit globally. This African leader, he knows. He's like, hey, look, not your money, not your call. It just shows you, he just highlights like something so obvious has to be said. And that's how entitled people has become to the American tax dollar. Let's take a look at the clip.
People the other day crying, oh, I don't know, Trump has removed money. He said he's not giving us any more money. Watu wanalia. Why are you crying? It's not your government, it's not your country.
Is that your money? Is that your country?
He has no reason to give you anything. I mean, hey, you don't pay taxes in America. He's appealing to his people. Shauri yenu bwana. Yeah? This is a wake-up call for you to say, okay, what are we going to do to help ourselves? Instead of crying, tujiulize, what are we going to do? Haya, ametoa hiyo pesa, sasa tutafanya namna gani jameni? What are we going to do? Yeah? To support ourselves. Because nobody is going to continue holding out a hand there to give you.
And that's the liberals' problem there, right? It even goes to parenting, how liberals parent their kids. They pretend like, gentle parenting is a trending thing they do. And I want to see a political breakdown, like how many conservative parents practice gentle parenting versus liberal parents, right? And this is the enabling culture that liberals tend to participate in. Oh, we shouldn't prosecute black people have been prosecuted historically. But historically, black people have been committing a lot of crimes too. So what? We should not hold black people accountable when they commit crimes? You're going to enable the behavior to continue. And this is the incentive structure that conservatives always talk about. Lift yourself by the bootstraps, because end of the day, if you're dependent on, if someone's responsible for feeding you, they also could be responsible for starving you, because you inadvertently give control over people who are maintaining your life. This is one of the arguments why conservatives don't like food stamps, don't like all these government benefits, because we believe in incentivize people to be comfortable and lazy. Because end of the day, the government's like a referee. They control the incentives. And you see the incentive. Trump said no foreign aid for 3 months. Everyone crying. And the African leaders like, yo, you expected him to just give you money forever? The United States do not live for the convenience of foreign nations. This is the ethos of America first. This is why people voted for Donald Trump, voted for his cabinet pick. We want Americans first. Americans have some of the lowest life expectancy. Yet our foreign aid is out here funding all these countries' healthcare systems. They're able to sell healthcare cheap because they get secondhand from us. So we pay the full cost of the drugs, the vaccines, we pay damn near full price. And with all these foreign aid packages and stuff, these European countries get it in the back end and they get it cheaper and they give it to their people damn near cheap. And then Americans go back over there and say, oh, their healthcare system is so much better than the United States. Yeah, because the United States tax dollars is funding their system. It's essentially subsidizing their healthcare because they don't have the cost of developing it there. They get it secondhand. But the people here, we got to pay full price. This is the kind of regulation that, we complain about a lot here in our government system. And, I've been liking the RFK clips because it just shows you that the Democrats don't really care, man. In my estimation, a lot of these politicians, especially Democrats, they just want to manage problems. They don't want to solve problems. They want to manage problems. Here's another clip from RFK because RFK, look, when I went back, RFK came back for day 2 and he came back with a vengeance.
You were on a show on February 26, 2021, an interview with Dr. Judy Mikovits, where you said the following, and I quote, "We should not be giving Black people the same vaccine schedule that's given to whites because their immune system is better than ours." Can you please explain what you meant?
There's a series of studies, I think most of them by Poland, that show that to particular antigens that Blacks have a much stronger reaction. There's differences in reaction to different products by different races.
So I have 17 seconds left. Let me just ask you then. So what different vaccine schedule would you say I should have received? What different vaccine schedule should I have received?
I mean, the Poland article suggests that Blacks need fewer antigens than...
This is so dangerous.
So you get the same measles vaccine.
Mr. Kennedy, with all due respect, that is so dangerous.
How is it dangerous? There's certain drugs that the doses, the amount you get from certain drugs is different just based on your gender. These people want you killed, bro.
Your voice would be a voice that parents would listen to. That is so dangerous. I will be voting against your nomination because your views are dangerous to our state and to our country.
I mean, do you think science is dangerous, Senator? This is published, peer-reviewed studies.
I yield.
Just looking for sound bites, man. Democrats,
you were on a show.
Liberals, this is the reputation that I got in my eyes. Y'all the kind of people who just want to look good, not actually be good, right? Equal rights does not mean equal results. I can have all the equal treatment in the world on a golf course, and I will not finish within a shouting distance of Tiger Woods. I don't understand. I don't understand these Democrats, man. I forgot to do my boy Kash Patel. They fear this man. They're scared to death of this man. Right, so I'm gonna give him some limelight. I got like 3 minutes left before I have to end the live stream. The real reasons Democrats fear Kash Patel, and I'm just gonna go through the bulletin points. The Democrats' two-tier justice system, a pattern of corruption. Right, Tulsi Gabbard talked about this. The Trump-Russia collusion hoax. Right, the January 6th prosecutions versus the 2020 rioters. Right, I honestly believe if BLM, Chaz, Antifa, if those riots in 2020 never happened, I don't think we'll ever get January 6th. Because these 2020 riots, they happened first, but they weren't politically prosecuted by the Democratic Party. They wasn't prosecuted at all. And it gave a permission structure where people thought they could do the same thing and riot at the Capitol. Except what happened? J6ers got punished for the exact same thing 2020 rioters were doing. Even though BLM caused more deaths, BLM killed more cops than January 6th, BLM destroyed more property than January 6th. BLM caused more disruptions than January 6th. January 6th was a day. BLM, for some locations, it was a week. Cars were being broken into. Where's the federal prosecutions for those people? Zilch, none, nada. And even if they did get prosecuted, they got bailed out by the Democratic Party. But God forbid, Donald Trump do the exact same thing you did 2020. If Democrats bail out their rioters, Trump let his rioters suffer 3 years in jail and said, okay, you suffered enough. You hit a cop. You don't deserve 3 years in prison for hitting a cop. Pardon. Democrats outraged. Two-tier justice system. Okay. Parents, Democrats labeled parents as domestic terrorists. Come on. Democrats just want power and control. That's the narrative I'm going with. Hunter Biden, cover up. Donald Trump finished banning 51 federal agents who co-signed the cover-up story. So he's already starting there. Pro-life activists versus abortion terrorists. Abortion terrorists was allowed to almost assassinate a Supreme Court justice person. Nothing happened to him, damn near, it seemed like. But pro-lifers get put on a watch list, and some even went to jail. This is why they're scared of Kash Patel. So I'm going to give you a little clip here to kind of round out my video as I'm nearing the end, as I'm trying to wind down. But I see myself picking back up again. I'm getting my second win. But let's check out this clip from Kash Patel. It's a really interesting one.
In the collective, all of those statements are taken out of grotesque context. And anyone that thinks my 16 years of service isn't exemplary on how I would proceed if confirmed as FBI is intentionally putting false information into the public ether and creating more public discourse. The only thing that will matter if I'm confirmed as a director of the FBI is a de-weaponized, depoliticized system of law enforcement completely devoted to rigorous obedience of the Constitution and a singular standard of justice. In the collective...
Sounds fair to me. Kash Patel got a good approval rating too, but why Democrats don't like him? Does it have something to say what Tulsi Gabbard said in her opening statement during her confirmation hearing? That he won't be their puppet? They can't use him to circumvent Donald Trump's authority? I think that's one of the main reasons why the media, Democrats, they're going so hard at Trump's picks. Because, compared to last time, Trump 1.0, they relatively let his cabinet picks go. I don't even remember hearing news about Trump's cabinet picks the first time around. The second time around, they're like, oh no, these people are serious. We can't influence these people to circumvent Trump. And I think this is why they're going so hard at it. Go so hard at Kash Patel, Donald Trump, and all this stuff. And imagine, right? Because this scene I find exemplary of the hypocrisy of the Democratic Party, and I think I'm going to end off my live stream with this one. Is how you have a senator here, what's his name? Adam Schiff, who has been censored for lying, Russia hoax. This guy here. Look how he carries himself here. Like these people, sometimes I'm like, yo, these people have no shame. And I don't understand how Democrats lack the self-awareness to realize how they look trying to lecture someone about morals, virtue, all this stuff, when you got a censured person sitting there. He's censured for lying. And also he has a preemptive pardon around him. And he's talking about corruption to Kash Patel. Let's take a look.
You're being considered for director of the FBI. And here you did no diligence to find out whether people you were associating with now the President of the United States in song were convicted of attacking police officers. Is that who we want running the FBI? I want you to turn around. There are Capitol Police officers behind you. They're guarding us. Take a look at them right now. Turn around.
I'm looking at you. You're talking to me.
No, look at them. I want you to look at them if you can, if you have the courage to look them in the eye, Mr. Patel, and tell them you're proud of what you did. Tell them you're...
Why when these Democrats talk to me, it sounds like theatrics, right? It sounds like they're trying to... They're acting like they're shooting a movie or something, right? Scene, like I forgot how you say it. Lights, camera, action, and they go into these pejoratives, right? Like Bernie Sanders, the onesies, denounce the onesies. It's just a show, bro. And this is where I want like the American people, like if I was able to just talk to all American people in the sound of my voice, I'll tell them, hey, don't fall for this crap anymore. Look at results. If what the government was doing was working, we'll be a healthier society. We'll be a better society. We wouldn't have 7% of our adults obese or overweight. We won't have at least 30% of our kids obese and overweight. If nothing's wrong with the science, if nothing's wrong with our approach to our health services, then we should have some of the highest life expectancy in the world, but we don't. We have some of the lowest. And you don't think that's an alarm bell saying, hey, the outcomes we're getting from the current system, from the current approach isn't working. It's time to change something. It's time to do something new. Insanity. And this is something that Democrats need to learn. And I think I'm gonna end it off with this this quote, this saying, this piece of wisdom I learned from older people and more wiser people than myself. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Doubling down and saying that the American people are racist and sexist and that's why your candidate didn't win is insanity. And then doubling down on identity politics like DEI, right? Pushing this narrative that, oh, our candidate was so perfect, the only reason she lost is because of her skin color. That's the argument that Democrats are making and that they're doubling down on. And they think that they have a chance to win 2026. America, we cannot reward these people for thinking like this. This is insanity. The Democratic Party has become the party for the insane people. How you sit there in a straight face, you lost in a landslide election, electoral college wise. You're the first Democrat to lose the popular vote in years. Since the 80s, a Republican has not won the popular vote since the 80s. Kamala Harris made a lot of history. The first Democrat president to lose the popular vote in 30, 40 years. Not one iota, not one crumble, not one wrinkle of criticism from the DNC about how she went about her campaign. She ran a perfect campaign. If she ran a perfect campaign, she'll be president right now. She wouldn't be the first woman president to certify her own election loss. Democrats, y'all learn nothing. But hey, I digress. I appreciate you guys watching the live stream. Please like the video on your way out. I really do appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. I think this is the most people I had watching in a long time. My last record was 13. I had 40-something people watching the live stream at one time. So I appreciate all you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Hope to see you guys next week. I do this show live every week on Friday nights around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I hope to see you guys over there. Have a good weekend. I hope to see you guys on the next one. Peace.